Mental health plays a crucial role in an everyday athlete's overall well-being, your performance, the enjoyment of endurance sports or like running and cycling. And there is a significant link between endurance sports and your mental health and how that endurance sport can bring an opportunity for personal growth and positive transformation. And I'm not talking all kind of woo-woo, but there are endurance sports gives you an opportunity to practice strong mental health foundations and then use those skills to navigate some of the unique challenges that we face along our journey. These mental health skills are critical in my coaching business and in my life as I try to help clients improve their performance in whatever way they define success. Welcome to the Simple Endurance Coaching Unleash Your Everyday Athlete video podcast. I'm Paul Worlowski, head coach and owner of Simple Endurance Coaching. And each week we talk about one thing that is working for everyday cyclists and runners to empower ordinary people to achieve extraordinary fitness and performance. Subscribe to the podcast and sign up on the website, simpleendurancecoaching.com, for a free core strength and stability video. Here is this week's podcast. Mental health in endurance sport is all about your psychological and your emotional well-being. For our purposes today, what we're focusing on is resilience, focus, motivation, self-confidence, and overall mental toughness, that capacity, and maybe it's resilience as well, but that capacity to endure, that capacity to keep working on things and keep going even when it's challenging. So we'll talk about these things throughout the podcast so you get an idea of how they play together. Some ways that endurance sport can build mental health is through resilience. The idea of persevering during longer events, the idea of persevering through tough training sessions and racing when it's difficult. It's a great chance to practice those skills during training so that in racing you get to use those skills and persevere throughout the challenging times. Endurance sports in general, can really help with stress reduction. Sports can improve sleep quality, reduce anxiety, increase self-confidence. So we've all felt that sense of post-workout or post-race, like, oh, I'm really tired, but I feel really good, and I know that I will sleep well tonight, and you do. And so there's that level of positive sleep promotion, reducing anxiety that sports can bring. So another way that sports can build mental health is through mindfulness. And again, I'm not talking necessarily about meditation, although that's part of what you can do. I'm talking more about being immersed in that present moment. You know, you can get that flow state where everything is just working, but those are kind of temporary. That you are trying to be as much in the moment as you possibly can. One of the ways of doing that is by practicing and working on your breath work so that you're breathing through your nose and into your belly. Endurance sports can also work on your goal setting skills, and working to accomplish these goals can build your self-esteem and instill a sense of achievement that, yes, you've been able to accomplish these goals and you're doing okay. Sports can also be a chance for social connection. I think that many of us don't ever want to retire or leave our sport because that's where all of our friends are. You know, we go to races to see people and meet new people, and it's a great opportunity to make those social connections. And although you probably can't always tell with me, endurance sports definitely can improve cognitive function, the way that your brain functions, the way that how you think and how you process information can all be improved with endurance sports. However, there are some mental health challenges that endurance sports can cause and things to be aware of. For instance, burnout. When you just go too hard for too long and you're fried. And this can happen at the end of a race season. This can happen over a long training block where you're doing the same thing over and over, and you just get fried. You just get to the point where you have a lack of motivation, and that's really one of the big signs, is that doing something that you love or have loved in the past now becomes a chore. There's also a pressure to perform, whether you put it on yourself, which is more likely, or whether others put it on. If you're at an elite level, they expect you to win and expect you to podium. At our level, the everyday level, the pressure to perform usually comes from ourselves. There's an expectation that we should perform in a certain way. We should get in a certain spot in the race. We should have a certain placing. And, that can be a really challenging way of thinking, and it can get in our head. And so therefore, the only thing that we do our racing for is to perform. A third thing are injuries. If you're going too hard, if you're not taking rest and recovery, you are far more likely to get hurt. You are far more likely to get overuse injuries. You are far more likely to make a mistake in your movement and hurt yourself, either breaking a bone, falling off a bike, or doing something to hurt yourself because you are tired, because you are fatigued, because there's an issue, and then you're away from your sport. A fourth mental health challenge is really comparing yourself to others. So-and-so Strava. Strava is a great thing, but Strava is also not a great thing, because we can see what people are doing. We can see that so-and-so did a 80-mile ride, and for God's sake, I had better do an 80-mile ride because I got to keep up with that person. And we have to run, a 10-mile run at a certain pace because so-and-so did that. So while Strava is a good and positive way to share your accomplishments, it's also a way that we end up comparing ourselves to each other. To the point now where I just go through Strava and hit kudos, because it's cool what people are doing, and I don't even bother to look at what they really do and how fast they do it, because I will compare myself and go, ugh, I suck. All right, what do we do with this? How do we take care of our mental health with endurance sports? And I've got a list, and there's a big, long list. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist. I've been doing this a long time, and I have dealt with my fair share, probably more than my fair share, of mental health challenges, trying to perform at a certain level and all that comes with that, and losing sight of the joy of our work and of our training. So one way is to maintain a positive mindset despite setbacks or difficulties. So we are trying to have a growth mindset where we're learning all the time. It's not that we failed, but we are learning, and that when presented with challenges, they are challenges that give us opportunity to learn more. Sports also gives us a chance to create a mechanism for stress management. I know that if I can't ride my bike for a couple of days, I start getting a little cranky because I've lost one of my mechanisms for managing stress. It is also important to work on staying motivated when facing adversity. which means practicing your capacity to persevere and to keep going when things are challenging, when the training is tough. You know that you've got a workout coming up where your coach is giving you, 30, 15 intervals, 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off, and they're really hard and you're not looking forward to it. However, finding that internal motivation and doing it anyways is a great way of taking care of your mental health. Unless, of course, you're too tired, then you need to know the difference, which is challenging to do sometimes. It is also important that we maintain a healthy balance between training and our life. Few, if any of us, are getting paid any amount of money to race our bike or run. I don't coach those people. I don't, I know some, but our livelihoods do not depend upon whether we get a workout in. That balance is a challenge sometimes, knowing when it's okay to miss a workout so that you can spend some time with your family. Knowing that it's okay to maybe cut a ride or a run short so that you can do something else. Maybe you can adjust when you do something so that you're able to do something later with other people. The growth mindset is an idea that you can always learn, you can always grow, you can always improve, not to a perfection level, but simply get better than you were yesterday. And that is cultivating a positive attitude. It's like, I'm always learning. It's not that I'm screwing up or that I'm making mistakes. It's that I'm learning something, and I am going to cultivate positivity. I am going to cultivate a positive attitude. I'm looking for joy. I am looking to celebrate the fact that I am able to go out and run. I am able to go out and ride my bike. Whatever it might be, that there is joy in that physical activity, so that there's an accomplishment that I feel, that I managed to get out for a couple of hours a day, and that's all I could manage. And that's okay. That was a good day today. So that you find fulfillment through the journey, through the training, through everyday work, rather than focusing on that end goal of the race. That every day presents that opportunity to practice something, to get better at something, so that we are able to then improve our own mental health. So here are some signs that you might be having some mental health challenges that you need to look at, either by working with somebody, talking it through. Number one, and these are also signs of burnout and or overtraining. So it's something to be aware of. These are serious symptoms. Number one, if you feel a decline in your motivation and enjoyment of the sport that you typically love, that's a sign that something is up, that you are having some challenges. If your sport increases your anxiety and stress as opposed to reduces it, if you notice a change in your sleep patterns, if it is harder to sleep, if you feel like you're fatigued all the time, that's a sign. If you are feeling like withdrawing socially, if you feel like, I just don't want to be around people and I need to kind of cocoon, that might be a sign that there's a challenge. If you are crabby consistently, if you have a low mood, if your mood is depressed, and I don't want to use that word depression, but if you have a depressed mood or you have a persistent feeling of sadness, that's another sign that your mental health might be a challenge or have some challenges that you need to take care of. So here are some of those key mental skills. we've talked about them so far in the podcast. We've talked about them as skills that we can practice. The first one is resilience. And we might add durability to this. The idea is that when things get tough, we get tougher. Or when things get challenging, we keep going because we have that inner resilience. We have that inner drive that we can practice, that we can improve our concentration, that when we, just speaking for myself, I know that when I get done with a good ride, I am way more able to focus on my work. I'm able to concentrate better. Number 3, another mental skill that really comes out of endurance sports is self-belief. If you simply look at what you can accomplish, what you have gotten, what you've done, the fact that you could ride for 2 hours, the fact that you could do 5 miles in your run today, that creates a sense of self-belief that you have accomplished something, and it gives you that wherewithal to be able to say, yeah, I got this, I can do this. Endurance sports also require goal-setting skills so that you can practice those goal-setting skills. Not so much results kind of goals, but process-oriented goals where you're looking at how do I manage this process of training so that I'm learning something every day. Finally, number 5, endurance sports can really help us develop some effective stress management techniques. We are able to learn to reduce our stress and anxiety by the simple act of getting out for a ride or for a run. And that is a huge, huge addition to our lives, a huge opportunity in our lives. Thanks for watching this edition of the Simple Endurance Coaching video podcast, Unleash Your Everyday Athlete. I'm Paul Warlowski, head coach and owner of Simple Endurance Coaching. Find the full article in which I talk about mental skills on my blog. It's linked in the notes. Get a free core strength and stability training video when you opt in to receive my weekly articles from Unleash the Everyday Athlete about what works in endurance sports. Sign up below for a virtual coffee. If you have questions, we can talk about your goals. We can talk about making your endurance training more effective, fun, and simple with a capital S. Thanks, and I'll see you out on the road.